What's up, everybody? This is Life Knowledge, and I'm Justin Alphabet. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe down below if you find this content valuable. Today, we're going to be talking about how to control emotions. Okay, so you want to learn how to control your emotions, and it's actually a bit more simple than you'd think it would be, but it takes a little bit to explain. So let me start from the beginning, and I will because I have a lot to tell you guys, but I'll try to keep it short. So first off, you've heard of the concept of yin and yang before, right? Well, I'm going to merge that concept with another concept and a story to tell you guys. Where there's this story where it talks about there's two wolves within us, right? There's a good wolf and a bad wolf, and there's a Native American story where a young boy asks his father basically which wolf is the wolf that wins, the good wolf or the bad wolf. And in this story, the Native American young boy was told the answer, the one you feed. That's what his father told him. But I'm here to tell you today that that story is only halfway true. So imagine for a second. Well, first off, I want to point out I'm going to use colors to determine like yin and yang, like white and black. It doesn't have anything to do with racial things, and I just want to preface that, okay? Um, First off, we have the white, which is essentially the good emotions, or like emotions like joy, happiness, peace, health, wealth, like positive, um, joyous emotions, right? And then on the opposite side of that, we have the black side, which is um, darker emotions like anger, lust, fear, hatred, hurt, pain, fear. I think I said fear twice, but oftentimes there's a lot of fear for people. So a lot of times people try to stay on the white side, like they try to stay on one side, but there's a reason there's two halves to the whole circle, right? And that's important, an important part that I want you to think about. Um, there's sometimes different, depictions of how a yin yang symbol is, right? One of them that I've seen recently is two fish swimming in a circle, and each of them are chasing the other's tail in a constant loop, right? And an eternal loop of good to bad to good to good to bad to bad to good. And so, what I started to figure out is you can never constantly stay on one side of the circle. You have to balance in between the two. And if you know anything about science, there's something called homeostasis, where it's like an equilibrium where things can just be instead of being like, for example, the pH of water, like the acidity of water. It can neither be too alkaline or too acidic. It has to be kind of like finding a place in the middle for us to drink it. It has to have a balance, right? So homeostasis is the goal of us as humans as well. And if we are too happy all the time, if we're too, forcing ourselves to be happy, that can be a negative thing. We can be too alkaline or too toxic in that way, right? Or if we're too negative all the time and, focusing too much on fear and anger and stress and things like that, that can make us too acidic, which is also very toxic as well. So the goal is to reach a middle point. The yin yang is balanced. The balance is the goal in your emotions. And people say they want to be happier, right? But that's because they're typically down on the scale in the negative, and they're in the black for too long. So they need to find a way into the white, which and create a balance between the two, right? So a little bit about, like a way to figure out how to do that is a couple things. First off, when you can't control your emotions, let's talk about fear first off, because fear is one that a lot of people have. Um, when I first was discovering how to conquer fear, I did it with heights, which seemed like a good place to start because I didn't want to be afraid of heights. I thought, like, why am I afraid of this? This is stupid, like. And many people have that fear. Many people also have the fear of public speaking. I did that as well, to conquer that. And the way that you want to control this emotion is to face it or embrace it or feel it. I guess there's a lot of different ways to do that. And a lot of people call it different things. But basically, for example, like feel the fear, right? Like let's say you're walking up to a cliff edge, feel the fear, but walk closer cautiously anyways. Make sure you're safe. Make sure you have a rope. Make sure you have a bar in front of you. And feel the fear, and then realize the fear doesn't last forever. The emotion of fear can only last for a few minutes at maximum, right? Like if you imagine like a vial in your brain of like fear juice, like imagine there's like a vial of fear juice, a vial of anger juice, a vial of like all these different vials in your head. When the fear juice is tipped, it will eventually run out. You have about like 30 to 60 seconds of fear juice in your body that you can, keep in there at a time, right? And obviously it can refill and become bigger if you stay in fear. But if you conquer the fear and you realize, oh, I don't need to be afraid right here. I don't need to feel these feelings. I am safe, and realize that, you are safe. Look around you. Realize you have a harness on or something if you're rock climbing, or realize there's a metal bar in front of you, or, you're not actually going to fall. And the reason why that's important is because our emotions are just alarms. They're signals to your body that's of danger, of things like that. And for example, like let's go back to the caveman days, right? Fear was an alarm telling you that you needed to escape or get away from or run away from a Tyrannosaurus Rex or whatever it may be, a saber-toothed tiger, right? But today, you don't need those feelings as much, and they're not as necessary. There's safety in quantity. There's a lot of safety around us, more so that for most people. I can't speak for everybody, and but finding a place of safety is very important. First off, if you're not safe, but that will allow you to start feeling safe, being in places of safety more often, and also, allowing yourself to control your emotions through that way. So, embrace the feeling and doing what you doing like lean into the feeling, feel the feeling of fear, but then do what you're going to do anyways, right? Like get closer to the edge little bit by little bit, don't run up to the edge and like freak yourself out or whatever, have a panic attack. Just slowly ease into it and do it over and over again until you feel comfortable and realize that you're not going to fall, right? Because you're not going to most of the time. Your body's just telling you that you have to, right? Or that you're going to. Another thing is like, for example, let's use anger, right? Let's say someone says something mean to you, you get really angry and have like this anger response because you feel like you're being attacked, right? That anger is a signal saying you need to fight this person, right? Because back in the day, like let's say something was barking at you, like a vicious dog or a wolf, you'd have to, get angry to fight that wolf off or something like that in caveman days. But today, you don't have to do that necessarily. You can communicate, you can talk to this person. But what you want to do in that situation is feel the anger, right? And do nothing about it. And that's easier said than done. Sometimes you really want to hurt somebody or punch somebody, but we're not going to do that, right? So the goal is to, for that one, sometimes you need to breathe, right? And same for fear too. Breathing helps with every single negative emotion, every single positive emotion. If you really want to like come down to like a baseline of equilibrium or homeostasis, let's say your anger is spiked, to bring it back down, you got to stay calm. To spike your happiness, you also need, and keep it up, you also have to do the same thing with breathing sometimes too. Like, pay attention to your breathing when you're in a heightened emotion and get curious about it. Like sometimes asking myself why I feel this way is a big helper. That's another tip I would give to you guys, is asking yourself, why do I feel this way? For example, let's say someone says something mean to me. I ask myself, like, why do I feel angry about this? That's their problem. Like, let's say someone makes fun of my red hair, right? Like, I love my red hair. but they don't like it because of, their ex or their mother or whoever who had red hair who did something to them and whatever, right? So that's their problem. But I love my red hair, and so I can just, bring my energy back in myself, and kind of like this one is another technique that I learned for emotional control, where imagine you have tons of like energy strings around you that are like light colored, right? And your energy is going around. Like right now, I'm sending energy to you guys through mental techniques, right? Through conversation. But what I can also do is I can cut that off. It's imagine yourself like a puppet, right? And there are strings coming out of you from all angles. Imagine a bubble just comes inside of you and cuts off all of those strings. And that will protect your energy and protect your emotion from getting hurt. Because oftentimes the reason why we get hurt is because we have our heart on our sleeve, or our emotions out there for people to hurt and chop up and hurt us. But if your emotions are inside of you, and you come inside yourself and protect your emotions, and all your emotion is held in here, then you won't get your emotions hurt so badly, or you won't feel as angry. You can control them. And people will try to push your buttons. They'll try to do things like that, but they won't have as much of an effect because your emotions are protected inside of you. Some people get stuck in there. Some people get stuck with their emotions protected, so you have to be careful. Make sure that you don't block off your heart completely. Like you make sure you like trust other people, specific people, with those emotions to let them out and talk them out, and therapists and trusted adults and trusted friends. Because keeping those emotions in there and burying them for a long time can get really messy, and they'll explode out like a volcano, because our body can only hold so much energetic, emotion for a certain period of time. So let's say someone's being mean to me, and I get mad. I'm going to hold that in. I'm going to walk away, release that away from anyone that I love and friends. And sometimes working out helps. Sometimes there's a lot of different ways to release, negative energy. But the cool thing about negative energy is that it's actually a superpower, which I recently discovered, which is pretty cool. So think about Darth Vader for a second, right? He's the dark side of the yin yang, right? And Luke is the light side of the yin yang, and there needs to be a balance in the force, right? Darth Vader is actually much more powerful, and like the dark side is much more powerful than the light side, but the light side has, all the good emotions, or the positive emotions. If you want to become more powerful, if you want to become stronger, if you want to grow, you have to embrace the negative emotions as well. So oftentimes in like churches and in media and stuff, they tell you forsake the dark side entirely. Don't give in to the dark side, blah blah blah. But I want you guys to think about like the stereotype of going to the gym, right? When a man typically gets broken up with, he goes to the gym and gets super ripped, gets super jacked, right? He uses all that negative emotion and forces himself to grow, right? His aggression, his anger, his sadness, his hurt, he pushes that into himself and then forces himself to level up, right? And so you can use your anger as a superpower in certain situations. You can use that hurt, that fear, that anger, and use it to grow yourself and build yourself if you embrace it and use it towards positive growth. You can also use it for negative growth, so growing the negative, so be careful. But back to the wolves, about the two wolves, right? There's the white wolf and the black wolf, and whichever one grows is the one you feed. You need to feed them both equally. That's the answer. You can't just feed one wolf and neglect the other wolf, because the other wolf will attack the other wolf and basically it'll force it to eat, right? And that's where addictions come in and stuff like that, where for example, like there's the white wolf, where if you focus on feeding the white wolf so much, then the black wolf will feel neglected, and basically, like I was saying, it'll blow up. So for example, like let's say you have anger, and you don't take care of it. You just leave it inside and you suppress it and you suppress it and you suppress it. That's like not feeding the black wolf. By feeding the black wolf, you have to let it out. You have to release, the wolf, the black wolf, in certain situations. So, for example, like um, us humans were built to survive, right? Like back in caveman days, we would chase down deer and like kill them with our bare hands, or things like that. We have energy inside us that is powerful and dangerous, and it's okay to be dangerous. It's okay to be strong. It's okay to be those kind of things in specific situations. If you have a lot of aggression, put it into the gym, because that aggression is going to need to be released, but you can't release it around people, and people you care about sometimes, because you love them and you don't want to hurt them, right? But doctors today talk about like ADHD and ADD and things like that, and hyperactive energetic disorders and whatever. And the thing is that like we were built to fight. We were built to run. We were built to conquer, as men and women as well. In different ways. But the point being is that like if someone tells you that you have ADD, or someone tells you that you have ADHD or whatever, that's because you have so much energy inside of you that's not being spent. It's like you have too much of a specific energetic type and you need to release it, right? So find a sport, find a fighting like MMA gym, or a jiu-jitsu, or a football, soccer, lift weights, go to the gym. Make that part of you and who you are, so that you can release that energy in healthy ways, and that's how you can control your emotions a little bit better. And when you're hurting, right? Like let's say you feel pain or depression. Depression is a sign, it's a signal that you're not getting enough of something, right? Like maybe you're not getting enough food, maybe you're not getting enough air, maybe you're not getting enough sunlight, maybe you're not getting enough whatever, but something inside of you is being depressed, right? So like there's a weight on you, and you need to figure out what it is and try different things so that you can figure out what is weighing on me, so that I can how can I let that go. And oftentimes it involves exercise, getting outside, becoming one with nature. Nature is like the true wealth of this world, I personally believe. And so that's where we came from, and then we surround ourselves with cement, buildings and everything, and we can't be in nature and peace and like calm and quiet like we used to be as cavemen or whatever. And we distance ourselves more and more from that nature. So it kind of where we came from, our biology is built for that kind of atmosphere, but we've created new atmospheres where that does not exist, where nature does not exist typically. So get into nature to control your emotions, get outside. If you guys have questions, go ahead and comment them below, and I'll answer any questions that you need. For the positive emotions, if you want to have more positive emotions, I actually learned this from Brad Heller, who's an acting coach, how to get more positive emotions in your life. And the way to do it is to think of the emotion you want. Let's say happy, right? And then take a deep breath and say the word again, happy. And then say the word again and take a deep breath and say happy. And as you say the emotion, your mind will start to, gravitate towards that emotion, right? And as you breathe, it'll give you the energy or the energetic frequency to raise your vibration or raise your energetic levels. All right? So just do that 10 times. Say happy, breathe. Happy, breathe. Happy, breathe. And that will raise your vibration so much higher, and you'll feel much happier if you allow it. You have to let yourself allow it. that's how one way you can change your emotion at any time, any place, anywhere. If you're easily swayed by other people's emotions around you, do that technique I told you where you guard your emotions. Like, if you're happy today, don't let other people's emotions affect you. Cut off and put a bubble around yourself and keep yourself in that happy emotion, and bring that energy, that happy energy, back into you. If other people aren't happy, just put up a wall, put up a imaginary bubble where they can't reach through, and allow that bubble to come into you as close as possible, so that you can protect that energy and hold that happy energy inside of you. And no one will be able, it takes practice, right? But no one will be able to sway your mood or change your mood based on everything on the outside, essentially. If you guys, I think this video is getting pretty long, but if you guys have questions, please comment them below. Have the day you deserve. Just thinking about, and I think I explained the whole wolf thing, but just remember the yin yang, right? Like, if it's a negative emotion, use it to grow, right? If it's a positive emotion, use it to grow also. But try to have balance between the two. That the goal is balance, not extreme happiness or radical happiness, and not extreme negativity or sadness either. Thank you guys for watching. Have the day you deserve, and let's level up.